Hi everyone and welcome back to the video series Europeans in Taiwan, where me and Mumu are traveling around Europe here in Taiwan. This video is funded by the European Union office here in Taiwan, and today we have found us all the way to the mountains here in Taipei, since we are talking with Gabby from Austria. So first of all, who is Gabby? And second of all, why have you invited me here to the mountains of Zinan Temple up in Maokong?
Well, thanks so much for having me. So I came to Taiwan in 2009 after having lived in Hong Kong, Guangzhou and Beijing. During a surgery here in Taiwan in 2010, there was a mistake and my nervous system was severely punctured and damaged during that time. So in a way, Taiwan is a place for me that holds, on one hand, I would say the biggest challenge in my life, and at the same time, the biggest gift of my life. Because I was here when it happened, I was actually able to, see a Chinese medicine doctor and work with traditional Chinese medicine, discover the original practices of Taoism. And with that, I have actually been able to completely heal and restore my nervous system. And that, of course, is the biggest gift that in that sense Taiwan has given me. So that leads us to this place, because where we are today actually is inside the Taoism Institute at Zinan Temple, Zinan Gong. So one of the things I do now is, for example, to hold retreats, to hold classes for companies, for organizations, for individuals. And one of the places we do that is here in Zinan Temple, in the Taoism Institute.
Okay, that explains it a little bit better.
Yes,
then.
yes.
Was
Yes.
this something that you brought with you from Austria coming here?
No, not at all, not at all. This all happened after my accident.
I always want to know what is the difference between, for example, living in Austria or living here in Taiwan. But it sounds like you have a completely different life. Like
Oh, totally.
completely different.
To be honest, I've been in this part of the world for more than 20 years. So in a way, the daily life in Austria seems so far away. The pace of work is a little slower. The, working hours are a little bit shorter. They prefer to start work very early, so then they can get off at like 4 p.m. So actually then you still have time, to go into nature, to spend more time with your family. I think that's probably really the biggest difference between Taiwan and Austria. And school as well. Like I see it with my own children. I have 3 children, they're all in local school here. And school days are really just super long.
How would that look in Austria, for example?
We'll start also at 8 in school, but then they would maybe get off at like latest at 2 or 3, and there wouldn't be that much homework. So there's more time, to play, to actually learn in other forms than just learning from textbooks.
When I thought about Austria, like the first thing, and to be honest, one of the only things that pops up is Sound of Music. So I have to ask you then, in the most Sound of Music reference possible, coming here to Taiwan, what are some of your favorite things?
Actually, I had never seen Sound of Music, the movie, before moving to Asia.
Really? What?
And
That's
exactly.
That's like if a Swede have never heard ABBA before moving to Asia.
Everyone was looking at me and going like, "Oh, you are from the country of Sound of Music," and I'm like, "Oh."
I thought that everyone just like grew up singing like all the songs from like Sound of Music. That's why I thought you dragged me up here to Zinan Temple, because it's like Maokong looks like the Austria of Taiwan.
Except we don't grow tea in Austria.
Okay. Do you have gondolas in Austria?
We do,
Yeah,
of
you see?
course, of course.
Okay.
So we went to Austria, and I forgot what I wanted to share about that.
Next question.
Yes.
Do Taiwanese people mix up Austria and Australia? Is that a thing?
Yes, but only by name. Audili and Audalia. So
I don't even know which one is which.
Audili is Austria.
Okay. I'm from Sweden, which is Reitien, not from Switzerland, which is Reitsche. So that's also. I'm not going to speak for entire Europe, but at least from Sweden, we mix up Austria and Switzerland.
What? I'm learning a lot now about my European family here today.
Because for us, it's It's being taught to us as it's a country that speaks German and it's below Germany.
Oh, please don't say it's below Germany.
South. We're
Yes.
south of Germany. So
get
it's very difficult for us.
Yeah.
But in Swedish, it's Österrike.
Okay.
Right,
In
yeah.
German, Austria is Österreich.
Exactly, so-
yeah. Oh no, I know what I wanted to share about that. With a group of like 15 wonderful people from Taiwan, we're just walking in nature, light walks, and suddenly the whole group started to sing all the songs from Sound of Music. And the only one who doesn't know how to sing them is me. On this beautiful, mountain scenes with the sun shining and everyone is singing. It feels like in the Sound of Music movie.
So, a deer, a female deer, ray, a touch of golden sun.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
you can sing it better than me.
One of the most famous things coming from Austria is Danish pastry. As a Swede,
Thank you.
As a Swede, it really bothers me that it's called Danish pastry. Even in Denmark and in Sweden, we call it wienerbrød, which is like Vienna bread. But please help me confirm that now, that you guys have the credit for the wienerbrød.
Thank you so much. And to be honest, I didn't even know it was called Wienerbrot. But yes, of course, we all know Danish pastry. In the past, it was the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. So in general, Austrian cuisine has a lot of influence from Hungary, from Czech, from Slovakia, all the way to Turkey. And Vienna just used to be such a melting pot of diversity, actually, from all over the empire at that time. But I think it is this influence, influencing something, then it becomes even better. And I think that's what we have in Taiwan as well. In Austria, we have Wiener Schnitzel, which is like the breaded, deep-fried veal in the original form. Here you have a pork chop that is breaded and deep-fried.
Exactly.
Right?
I tried to explain to my Taiwanese friends. They gave me like a Japanese curry with like Wiener Schnitzel. And
Oh no, it's not Wiener Schnitzel.
I knew. That's exactly what my Taiwanese friend said as well. But when you see it, it's very similar. For an
It looks
untrained
similar.
Swede, it looks like a Wiener Schnitzel.
Austrian Wiener Schnitzel, it's like thin and large and golden brown, deep fried, and it's veal, not pork.
It's like your eyes and mouth is like start like
Yes,
shining up.
you can almost taste the
It's like-
difference,
it's like
right?
The only thing that stops your smile when talking about Wiener Schnitzel is like your ears. Like your ears is like in the way for your smile. It's like the biggest smile I've ever seen.
But I do have to say, Taiwan for me is a place with a lot of hidden gems.
Taiwan itself is a hidden gem.
Exactly. Is this even the title of my book? Taiwan, Taiwan, the hidden gem in German. I wrote and published this in 2018 in German, in my mother tongue, and it's really called Taiwan, das verborgene Juwel, the hidden jewel. I felt sad often when I went back to Austria at that time. People really did not know anything about Taiwan. They would even often confuse it with Thailand.
Of course, everyone should buy the book and read all of it. But what is like the one takeaway that you will have after reading the book?
So it is stories of people here from various backgrounds. It is stories of places or even how people connect with those places.
It sounds just like it's a book version of my YouTube channel. So
yeah, in a way, yes.
Everyone should definitely read this book if you're watching this video. Is there any other similarities you've found between Austria and Taiwan now after living here for 13 years?
Both places really have very high mountains. Taiwan has, I think, over 100 mountains that are over 3,000 meters high.
And I have hiked one of them.
Yes, which one?
Hehuanshan.
Only hiked like 10 minutes. Already amazing. And the landscape, the nature, and the trees specifically brings me back to the European forests, which just adds a completely new feeling to hiking here in Taiwan.
It doesn't really count because you take the car up to like 2,800 meters or something and then you just walk for like 1 hour.
Yes,
But
yes.
still.
So high mountains, you know, the Alps in Austria, and hot springs. I think that's a very, very interesting thing that both places definitely have in common. Not only diversity in culture, in people, diversity in nature. Even one of the national parks in Austria is one of the parks in Europe that still maintains one of the highest diversity of plants and animals, because it's a very, you know, untouched area.
It sounds like a Taiwanese then would maybe feel like very much at home if they would go and travel to Austria, until they try to speak the local language. Because I think that's very, very different. And as some of you might know, that you speak German.
Yes.
In Austria. But what I think that no one knows, something that I did not know until I did my research for this video, is that you also have Austrian German, which is different from German.
Yes, Austria does have, of course, its local dialects, and I would say certain words are really very, very different. You just know, oh, this person is from Austria or this person is from Germany. I give you an example.
Yeah.
Semmel and Brötchen.
Okay, what does it mean?
Semmel is actually the small round bread, but really in Germany it's called Brötchen.
But if someone then will go and visit Austria, what would be one sentence, either you can choose, either Austrian German or German that they should know before going to Austria?
Let me give one word.
So we had a video
Yes.
with the German Institute.
Okay.
And there was also only one word.
All right.
But it was like literally like the whole page.
Grundstücksverkehrsgenehmigungszuständigkeitsübertragungsverordnung. That's a nice word.
So you say one word. We only have like, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, the Austrians are not that long. Servus.
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 People will appreciate it because they will know you make an effort to use a word to greet somebody else in a very Austrian way. Servus.
Servus.
It means in a way, I'm here to serve you. Servus.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like serve us. Serve us.
Yeah.
Servus. Serve us.
Servus. Servus.
Earlier you mentioned that Austria has been influenced by a lot of other countries and other regions, but I would also argue like the opposite, that Austria has influenced a lot of other countries, specifically when it comes to like the music and the cultural and the dance. And in Sweden, when you graduate like high school, every single one has to learn Wiener Waltz.
Wiener Waltz.
To
the
dance.
waltz, yes.
And name any of the top 10 like music composers, and they're from Vienna. Is there anything that you feel that Taiwan should in the same way influence the world with?
It's a very good question, and thank you for mentioning the Viennese waltz. Of course, it's world famous, and I'm happy to hear it's also there in Sweden.
Of course, otherwise you cannot graduate high school. You need to
wow.
you need to pass the prom.
I always say, you know, as an Austrian in Taiwan, it is nice that Austria has had such an influence in the fields of culture and art and music. But there are, of course, many other areas as well that Austria has, you know, influenced others or keeps influencing. We are, for example, very, very good in green technology as well. Sustainable development, green technology, that is really an area apart where Austria and I believe actually also other European countries are really strong. Taiwan, unfortunately, is still really behind when it comes to implementing, you know, green tech, working and living in a more sustainable way. Taiwan has everything it takes to do that. It has the technology, it has the human resources, it has the financial resources. There's a lot of water wasting, a lot of electricity wasting, simply because the awareness is not here. Let's use the music and the singing and the culture to meet and then collaborate in these other fields, especially when it comes to sustainability and becoming more sustainable societies. We have a very, very active Austrian office, of course, serving Austrians, but really connecting a lot of initiatives, whether it's in the field of art, culture, even economy and trade. I want to share also, especially with whoever is listening from Taiwan or Austria who is below 30 years old, there is the possibility of a working holiday visa to spend, I believe it is a year in Austria, to travel there, but also to work there. And the Austrian office is really a great place to help with things like that.
I wish I was below the age of 30 and Austrian, so I could take advantage of it.
You should check if it exists with Sweden as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely do, definitely. We have not talked to the Swedish office yet, but when we do, I will definitely make sure to ask.
Great, great. To be very honest, okay, Scandinavian countries, for me as an Austrian, are easy to be mixed up. So I kind of understand the thing the other way around.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, I think this is what makes Europe really Europe, is again the diversity.
But that's also very confusing to explain to Taiwanese
Yes.
people, because then
Yes.
in some aspects it's like we're so different.
Yes.
And in
Yeah.
some aspects, yeah, of course, European, Eurovision and Schlager, and like all this singing. So yeah, it's very complicated to explain, even for us Europeans, what it means to be European. But we can all agree upon one thing, and that is that Danish pastries are from Austria.
Absolutely.
Gabby, thank you so much for inviting me here today and teaching all of us a little bit more about Austria and yourself. Of course, you will have all the links down in the description if you want to know more about Gabby and everything else she's doing here. And of course, you will also have a chance to win some of these products from the European Union office as well. All you have to do is to go and follow the European Economic and Trade Office on social media, and then follow the instructions when this video is being shared on their social media as well. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. It starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one.